2 Chronicles chapter 16. Asa backslides. In the 36th year of Asa's reign, King Baasha of Israel marched against Judah and fortified Ramah in order to prevent anyone from leaving or coming to King Asa of Judah. In response, Asa brought out silver and gold from the treasuries of the house of Adonai and from the royal palace, and sent them to King Ben-Hadad of Aram, who lived in Damascus, saying, "Let there be a covenant between you and me, as there was between my father and your father. Look, I have sent you silver and gold. Go break your covenant with King Baasha of Israel, so that he may withdraw from me." So Ben-Hadad had consented to King Asa's request and sent the commanders of his armies against the cities of Israel. They ravaged Eljon, Dan, Abel-Maim, and the stored cities of Naphtali. When Baasha heard, he stopped building Ramah and stopped his work. Then King Asa took up all of Judah to carry away all the stones of Ramah and the timber with which Baasha had been building. With them he fortified Geba and Mizpah. At that time the seer Hanani came by to King Asa of Judah and said to him, "Because you have depended on the king of Aram and not depended on Adonai your God, therefore the army of the king of Aram has escaped out of your hand. Were there not Cushites and the Libyans, a mighty army with many chariots and horsemen? Because you relied on Adonai, he delivered them into your hand. For the eyes of Adonai range throughout the earth to strengthen those whose hearts are wholly his. You have acted foolishly in this matter. Indeed, from now on you will have wars." Then Asa was angry with the seer and put him in the prison, for he was enraged at him for this. Also Asa oppressed some of the people at the same time. Behold, the acts of Asa from beginning to end are written in the book of the kings of Judah and Israel. Now in the 39th year of his reign, Asa became diseased in his feet. His illness was severe, yet even in his disease he did not seek Adonai but physicians. Finally Asa slept with his fathers, dying in the 41st year of his reign. He was buried in his own tomb, which he had hewn out for himself in the city of David. They laid him on his resting place, which was filled with sweet spices and various blends of perfumes, and they made a very large fire for him. 2 Chronicles chapter 17. Jehoshaphat restores Judah to Torah. Jehoshaphat, his son, became king in his place and took firm hold of his position against Israel. He stationed troops in all the fortified cities of Judah and set garrisons throughout the land of Judah and the cities of Ephraim that his father Asa had captured. Adonai was with Jehoshaphat because he walked in the first ways of his father David. He did not seek the Baalim, but sought the God of his father, and walked in his mitzvah rather than the deeds of Israel. So Adonai established the kingdom in his hand, and all Judah brought the tribute to Jehoshaphat, so that he had great riches and honor. I'm having up. His heart was devoted to the ways of Adonai. Furthermore, he removed the high places and the Asherah poles from Judah. Then, in the 3rd year of his reign, he sent his officials Ben-Hail, Obadiah, Zechariah, Nethaniel, and Micaiah to teach the towns of Judah. With them were the Levites, Shemaiah, Nethaniah, Zebediah, Asahel, Shemiramoth, Jehonathan, Adonijah, Tobijah, and Tobadonijah, and with them Elishama and Jehoram, the Kohanim. They taught throughout Judah, having with them a Torah scroll of Adonai. They went throughout all the towns of Judah and taught the people. Now the fear of Adonai fell on all the kingdoms and all the lands around Judah, so they did not make war with Jehoshaphat. Some of the Philistines brought Jehoshaphat presents and silver for tribute. The Arabs also brought him flocks, 7,700 rams and 7,700 he-goats. So Jehoshaphat became more and more powerful. He built forts and stored cities in Judah and carried out extensive work in the city of Judah. He had men of war, valiant warriors in Jerusalem. These were their appointees according to their clans. From Judah, captain of thousands, Adnah the commander with 300,000 valiant warriors, and next to him Jehohanan the commander with 280,000. And next to him Amasiah the son of Zichri, who willingly offered himself to Adonai with 200,000 valiant warriors. From Benjamin, Eliada, a valiant warrior with 200,000 men armed with a bow and shield, and next to him Jehozabad with 180,000 equipped for war. These were the men who served the king beside those whom the king stationed in the fortified cities throughout all of Judah. 2 Chronicles chapter 18, prophecy of the deceiving spirit. Now Jehoshaphat had a wealth and honor in abundance, but he allied himself with Ahab by marriage. Some years later he went down to visit Ahab in Samaria. Ahab slaughtered many sheep and bulls for him and the people with him, and urged him to march with him against Ramoth Gilead. King Ahab of Israel asked King Jehoshaphat of Judah, "Will you go with me against Ramoth Gilead?" He replied, I am as you are, and my people as your people, and will be with you in your battle. Jehoshaphat said to the king of Israel, please let us seek today the word of Adonai. So the king of Israel assembled the prophets, 400 men, and asked them, should we go to war against Ramoth Gilead, or should I hold off? They answered, go up, for God will give it into the king's hand. But Jehoshaphat asked, isn't there another prophet of Adonai here, of whom we should inquire? The king of Israel said to Jehoshaphat, there is still one man through whom we can inquire of God, but I hate him, because he has never prophesied any good thing about me, but always evil. He is Micaiah, son of Imlah. But Jehoshaphat said, may the king never say such a thing. So the king of Israel called an official and said, bring Micaiah, son of Imlah, quickly. Now the king of Israel and King Jehoshaphat of Judah, wearing their robes, were sitting on the entrance of the threshing floor at the entrance of the gate of Samaria, with all the prophets prophesying before them. Zedekiah, son of Hananiah, made for himself iron horns and declared, thus says Adonai, with these you will gore the Arameans until they are exterminated. All the other prophets were prophesying similarly, saying, march against the Ramoth Gilead and succeed, for Adonai will give it to the hand of the king. Now the messenger who had gone to summon Micaiah spoke to him, saying, look, the words of the prophets are unanimously favorable to the king. So please let your word be like the one of them and speak favorably. But Micaiah replied, as Adonai lives, what my God says, that is what I will say. When he came to the king, and the king asked him, Micaiah, should we go off to war against Ramoth Gilead, or should I hold off? He replied, march and be victorious. They will be given into your hand. But the king said to him, how many times must I make you swear to tell me nothing but the truth in the name of Adonai? So he said, I saw all Israel scattered on the hills like sheep without a shepherd. And Adonai said, these have no master. Let each man return home in shalom. So the king of Israel said to Jehoshaphat, didn't I tell you that he never prophesies good about me, only evil? Micaiah continued, therefore, hear the word of Adonai. I saw Adonai sitting on his throne, with the whole host of heaven standing on his right hand and on his left. And Adonai said, who will entice Ahab, king of Israel, to go up and fall at Ramoth Gilead? And one said this, and another said that, until a spirit came forward and stood before Adonai and said, I will entice him. So Adonai said to him, how? He answered, I will go and be a deceiving spirit in the mouth of his prophets, all his prophets. And he said, you will entice him, and you will also succeed. Go and do so. So now, behold, Adonai has put a lying spirit in the mouth of these prophets of yours, and Adonai has decreed disaster against you. Then Zedekiah, son of Chenaanah, approached Micaiah and slapped him on the cheek and said, how did the spirit of Adonai pass over me to speak to you? Micaiah replied, behold, you will see on the day that you go to hide in an inner room. And the king of Israel said, take Micaiah and turn him over to Amon, governor of the city, to Joash the king's son, and say, thus says the king, put this fellow in prison and make him eat at the bread and the water of affliction until I return in shalom. Then Micaiah said, if you ever return in shalom, Adonai has not spoken through me. He added, listen, all you people, Ahab dies in battle. So the king of Israel and Jehoshaphat, the king of Judah, marched against Ramoth Gilead. Then the king of Israel said to Jehoshaphat, I will guide myself to go into battle, but you put on your robes. So the king of Israel disguised himself, and they went into the battle. Now the king of Aram had already ordered his chariot commander, saying, don't attack anyone, small or great, except the kings of Israel alone. So when the chariot commander saw Jehoshaphat, they thought, this is the king of Israel. So they turned to attack him. But Jehoshaphat cried out, Adonai helped him, and God diverted them from him. When the chariot commanders realized that he was not the king of Israel, they turned back from pursuing him. But a man drew his bow aimlessly and struck the king of Israel between the lower armor and the breastplate. The king said to the charioteer, turn around and take me out of the battle, for I am wounded. The battle raged that day, and the king of Israel remained propped up in his chariot, facing the Arameans until dusk. Then at sunset he died. 2 Chronicles chapter 19. Jehoshaphat's judicial reforms. Then King Jehoshaphat of Judah returned safely in his place in Jerusalem. Jehu, son of Hanani, the seer, went out to meet him and said to King Jehoshaphat, should you help the wicked and love those who hate Adonai? Because of this, wrath from before Adonai is against you. Nevertheless, good things are found in you, for you have removed the Asherah poles out of the land and have set your heart to seek God. Jehoshaphat dwelt in Jerusalem, and he went out again among the people in Beersheba over the hill country of Ephraim and brought them back to Adonai, the God of their fathers. He also appointed judges in the land throughout all the fortified cities of Judah, city by city. He said to the judges, consider what you are doing, and for you do not judge for the man, but for Adonai who is with you when you pass judgment. Now then, let the fear of Adonai be upon you, Be very careful what you do, for there is no justice or favoritism or bribe taking with Adonai Eloheinu. In Jerusalem, Jehoshaphat appointed some of the Levites, Kohanim, and the leading patriarchs of Israel to render the judgment of Adonai and to settle disputes among the inhabitants of Jerusalem. He charged them, saying, "This is how you shall act in the fear of Adonai faithfully and wholeheartedly." Wow. When any dispute comes to you from your kinsmen who live in their cities, whether bloodshed or concerning Torah, mitzvah, statute, or ordinances, you must warn them so that they will not be guilty before Adonai. Otherwise wrath will come upon you and your kinsmen. Act accordingly, and you will not be guilty. Behold, Amariah the chief Kohen will be over you in all matters pertaining to Adonai, and Zebediah the son of Ishmael, the ruler of the house of Judah, and all these matters pertaining to the king. Also the Levites will serve as officials before you. Act courageously, and may Adonai be with the good. 2 Chronicles chapter 20. Jehoshaphat's prayer in the valley of Bracha. Now it happened after this that at the Moabites and at the Ammonites gathered together with the other Ammonites came to make war against Jehoshaphat. Some came and reported to Jehoshaphat, saying, "A great multitude is coming against you from beyond the sea, from Aram, and are already in Hazaran Tamar, that is, En-Gedi." Jehoshaphat was afraid, so he resolved to seek Adonai, and he proclaimed a fast throughout all Judah. Judah assembled the king to seek help from Adonai. Indeed, then came from all the cities of Judah to seek Adonai. Then Jehoshaphat stood in the congregation of Judah and Jerusalem and in the house of Adonai in front of the new courtyard and said, "Adonai, God of our fathers, are you not God in heaven? You rule over all the kingdoms of the nations. Power and might are in your hand, and no one can stand against you. Are you not our God who drove out the inhabitants of this land before your people Israel and gave it to the descendants of your friend Abraham forever? They settled in it and built you a temple there for your name's sake. If calamity comes upon us, the sword of judgment, pestilence, or famine, we will stand before this house and before you, for your name is in this house, and will cry out in our distress, and you will hear us and deliver us. Now behold, the sons of Ammon and Moab and Mount Seir, whose land you did not allow Israel to invade, when they came from the land of Egypt, and said they turned up from beside them and did not destroy them. Now behold, how they repay us by coming to drive us out of your possession, and you gave us as an inheritance, our God. Will you not execute judgment on them?" I'm almost done, Michael, for we have no power to face this great multitude that is attacking us. We do not know what to do, but our eyes are on you. All Judah was standing before Adonai with their infants, their wives, and their children. Then in the midst of the congregation, the Ruach came upon Jahaziel, the son of Zechariah, son of Benaiah, the son of Jael, son of Mattaniah the Levite, of the sons of Asaph, and he said, "Listen, all Judah and the inhabitants of Jerusalem, and King Jehoshaphat. Thus Adonai says to you, do not be afraid or be dismayed because of the great multitude, for the battle is not yours but God's. Tomorrow go down against them as they come into the ascent of these. You will find them at the end of the valley in front of the wilderness of Jeruel. You will not fight this battle. Take your position, stand, and see the salvation of Adonai with you. O Judah and Jerusalem, do not be afraid or be dismayed. Tomorrow we'll go out to face them, for Adonai is with you." Jehoshaphat bowed down with his face to the ground, and all Judah and the inhabitants of Jerusalem fell down before Adonai to worship Adonai. The Levites from the sons of Kohath and the sons of Korah stood up to praise Adonai, the God of Israel, with a very loud voice. Early in the morning they arose and went out to the wilderness of Tekoa. As they went forth, Jehoshaphat stood and said, "Listen to me, O Judah and inhabitants of Jerusalem. Believe in Adonai your God, and you will be confirmed. Trust in his prophets, and you will succeed." After consulting with the people, he appointed singers to Adonai, praising the splendor of his holiness, as they went out before the army, saying, "Praise Adonai, for his mercy endures forever." As they began singing and praising, Adonai set up ambushes against the children of Ammon, Moab, and Mount Seir, who had come against Judah, and they were defeated. For the Ammonites and Moabites rose up against the inhabitants of Mount Seir to exterminate and annihilate them. When they had exterminated the inhabitants of Seir, they helped to destroy one another. When Judah came to the lookout in the wilderness and looked for the multitudes, behold, only corpses were lying on the ground. No one had escaped. When Jehoshaphat and his people went to take plunder, they found an abundance of goods, clothing, and precious articles, which they pillaged. For then they could carry away. For 3 days they were taking the plunder because there was so much. On the fourth day, as they assembled in the valley of Bracha, where they blessed Adonai, that is why the name of the place to this valley of Bracha to this day. And every man of Judah and Jerusalem with Jehoshaphat their head returned joyfully to Jerusalem, for Adonai had given them cause to rejoice over their enemies. They came to Jerusalem to the house of Adonai with harps, lyres, and trumpets. So the fear of God was in all the kingdoms of the region, because they heard that Adonai had fought against the enemies of Israel. So the kingdom of Jehoshaphat was untroubled, for this God gave them all God gave him rest all around. Jehoshaphat's last days. Jehoshaphat reigned over Judah. He was 35 years old, and he began to reign. He reigned for 25 years in Jerusalem. His mother's name was Azubah, the daughter of Shlihi. He walked away in the way of his father Asa, and did not stray from it, doing what was right in the eyes of Adonai. However, the high places were not removed, nor did the people direct their hearts to the God of their fathers. And the rest of the acts of Jehoshaphat, from beginning to end, behold, they are written in the annals of Jehu, the son of Hanani, which is included in the book of the kings of Israel. Afterwards, King Jehoshaphat of Judah allied himself with King Ahaziah of Israel, thereby acting wickedly. He joined with them to construct ships to go to Tarshish, and they constructed the ships in Ezion-Geber. Then Eliezer, son of Dodavahu of Marashah, prophesied against Jehoshaphat, saying, because you have allied yourself with Ahaziah, Adonai will break up your work. So the ships were wrecked and were not able to go to Tarshish.